What if I told you that some of the world's prisons are more terrifying than any horror story you've ever heard? That behind cold steel doors and towering walls, men and women endure unimaginable brutality, lost years and shattered lives? Today, we journey into the dark corridors of human suffering and survival as we uncover the harsh realities of the top 5 brutal prisons: Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton's dark history. You might think prison is just a place for criminals, but what if it's actually a battlefield where every second is a fight for life itself? Prisons are supposed to be places of justice, right? But some of them cross the line. They become symbols of fear, oppression, and unspoken terror. In Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton, we find stories of survival, courage, and lessons about human endurance that most people never hear about. These are not just prisons. They are dark worlds where the limits of human strength are tested every day. In this video, we will dive deep into the history, the environment, and the shocking truths of these brutal facilities. You will see how fear is used as control, how despair shapes decisions, and how some manage to survive against all odds. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand these infamous prisons, but also gain insights into resilience, strategy, and mental toughness that can apply to your own life outside of prison walls. Imagine being locked inside a place where the walls themselves seem to watch you, where every decision could cost you dearly, and where danger lurks in the shadows. For most of us, this is unimaginable. Yet, thousands live this reality every single day. What makes these prisons especially brutal isn't just violence. It's the psychological warfare, the isolation, and the systemic cruelty that strips people of their dignity. Lancaster Prison is a place where power dynamics are constant. Angola, once a notorious plantation, has a dark legacy tied to slavery and exploitation that still echoes in the lives of inmates today. Clinton, though lesser known, hides a history of corruption, violence, and neglect that paints a stark picture of human suffering. Understanding these places is not just about shock value. It's about recognizing the depths of human endurance and the importance of mental strength. In this exploration, we will uncover how prisoners survive under extreme conditions, the dark histories that shape these institutions, the untold stories of courage, resilience, and sometimes heartbreak, lessons we can take from these stories to strengthen our own mindset. This is more than just a history lesson. It's a wake-up call. Life can feel like a prison sometimes. Fear, doubt, and adversity can confine us, limit our choices, and test our strength. By looking at the extreme cases of Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton, we learn how humans adapt, survive, and sometimes even thrive despite overwhelming odds. As we proceed, remember this: these stories are intense, but they are also inspiring. They are reminders of the power of the human spirit, the importance of courage, and the value of perseverance. You will witness firsthand the challenges of life behind bars and the lessons that transcend prison walls. Lessons about resilience, strategy, and mental toughness that can transform your life. By the end of this video, you'll not just know about brutal prisons. You'll understand the human fight for survival, the dark forces that shape institutions, and the inner power each of us can harness to overcome our own life challenges. So buckle up. Prepare yourself for shocking truths, emotional stories, and lessons that might change how you see resilience forever. This is a journey into the top 5 brutal prisons: Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton's dark history. When we think of prisons, most people imagine bars, cells, and the occasional criminal story on the news. But the reality inside some of the world's most brutal prisons is far darker, far more terrifying, and far more psychologically damaging than anyone could imagine. The problem isn't just physical confinement. It's a war on the mind, a constant battle where fear, hopelessness, and violence dominate every second of a person's life. The first problem is survival itself. Every day, inmates at Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton face an environment where danger isn't occasional. It's constant. Imagine being locked in a place where fights can break out over the smallest provocation, where alliances are fragile, and every interaction could mean the difference between life and death. This kind of pressure is unimaginable for most of us, yet thousands live it daily. Next is isolation and psychological torment. Prison isn't just about losing freedom. It's about losing connection, losing hope, and facing an environment that constantly challenges your sense of self. Inmates often face extended periods of solitary confinement, stripped of human contact, where the silence becomes deafening and the mind starts playing tricks on itself. For many, this is a tipping point between survival and despair. Another major struggle is systemic cruelty and corruption. Prisons like Angola carry a history of institutional abuse, where power dynamics between guards and prisoners create environments of fear and unpredictability. Punishments are often disproportionate, and the rules can change based on arbitrary decisions. In such an environment, trust is nearly impossible, and paranoia becomes a survival mechanism. Consider violence as a daily reality. Physical fights, gangs, and brutal enforcement of rules are not anomalies. They are standard practice. Inmates are forced to constantly calculate risk, sometimes have to choose between submission or confrontation. The constant stress wears on both body and mind, leading to long-term trauma that lasts long after release. But why should someone outside of prison care? Because, in a way, we all face prisons of our own making. Fear, doubt, toxic relationships, and oppressive circumstances can feel like confinement. Just as inmates battle external forces, we battle internal ones. The struggle to stay motivated, to push through adversity, and to maintain dignity under pressure is something everyone can relate to. The third problem is loss of identity and dignity. In these brutal prisons, the system is designed to strip people of individuality. Uniforms, numbers instead of names, constant surveillance, and dehumanizing routines create an environment where it's easy to feel invisible. For many, the hardest battle isn't just surviving physically. It's surviving mentally without losing the essence of who they are. Consider the story of someone who enters a brutal prison expecting punishment, but finds themselves trapped in a world of endless fear. Every interaction is calculation, every decision a test, and every day a battle. The stress, isolation, and danger combine to create an environment where hopelessness can take root if you're not careful. This struggle mirrors life outside prison in surprising ways. Many of us face mental prisons, careers that feel confining, toxic environments, financial stress, and emotional battles. Just like inmates, we sometimes feel trapped, unsure how to break free, and uncertain if we'll survive the challenges before us. And here's the harsh truth. Most people never learn the tools to survive under pressure. Just as many inmates fail to navigate brutal prisons, we fail to navigate the pressures of life. Without strategy, mental toughness, and courage, fear and stress can dominate, leaving us paralyzed. That's why understanding the world of brutal prisons isn't just about shock. It's about perspective. By seeing how individuals survive extreme adversity, we can learn lessons that apply to our own challenges. The pain, struggle, and resilience of prisoners teach us about courage, focus, and the importance of mental strength. In the next section, we'll dive into a real story from inside one of these brutal prisons. You'll see how fear, despair, and violence collide, and how one person's courage and strategy allowed them to survive against all odds. This story isn't just gripping. It's a blueprint for understanding resilience under pressure, applicable both inside and outside prison walls. Meet James Carter, a man whose life would forever change the moment he entered Angola Prison. Often called the Alcatraz of the South, James wasn't a hardened criminal. He was an ordinary man caught in extraordinary circumstances. But what awaited him inside Angola was nothing short of a living nightmare. On his first day, James stepped to the towering gates and felt an overwhelming wave of fear. The guards' eyes were cold, the walls loomed like silent sentinels, and the air smelled of despair. He quickly realized that survival here wasn't just about obeying the rules. It was about reading every subtle threat, every twitch, every glance. A single misstep could spark violence that would change his life forever. Within hours, James witnessed his first fight. Two inmates clashed over something as simple as a meal, but the consequences were deadly. Blood splattered, screams echoed, and the guard seemed almost indifferent. James felt a chill run down his spine. He understood immediately. This was a world ruled by fear, strategy, and raw survival instinct. Isolation hit next. In the first week, James was placed in solitary confinement for a minor infraction. For 23 hours a day, he was alone. No conversations, no distractions, just walls pressing in on him. The silence was deafening. In those moments, James battled his own mind, struggling to maintain his sense of self. Every shadow seemed alive, every whisper of his imagination a potential threat. He wrote messages on the walls to remind himself, I am still human. I can survive this. The physical challenges were brutal, but the mental challenges were even more punishing. James had to navigate prison politics, forming alliances carefully. A wrong friendship could end in betrayal. Every conversation required strategy. Every glance had meaning. He quickly realized that survival depended on understanding the unspoken rules of the prison. Who to trust, when to speak, when to stay silent. But James' story is not just about fear. It's about courage. On one particularly violent night, a riot broke out in the yard. Chaos erupted. Some inmates fled, others fought. James made a critical choice. He ran toward a group of terrified inmates, helping them find a safe corner rather than fleeing alone. That moment of bravery earned him respect, and for the first time, he felt a small measure of control in this oppressive environment. Through weeks of struggle, James learned lessons about resilience and adaptability that most of us would never face in ordinary life. He discovered the importance of mental toughness, the need to remain calm under pressure, and the power of strategy. He realized that fear could either paralyze or teach him to survive. He chose the latter. James' story also highlights the human cost of these prisons. He saw friendships form and shatter, witnessed despair transform into hopelessness, and endured moments when giving up seemed easier than carrying on. Yet, through all the brutality, he found moments of humanity, a shared meal, a whispered joke, a small act of kindness that reminded him that survival wasn't just physical. It was emotional and mental too. By the time James left Angola, he wasn't just a survivor. He was transformed. He understood fear, strategy, and the value of resilience on a level most people never will. His experience, though harrowing, became a blueprint for mental strength, showing that even in the darkest environments, the human spirit can endure and adapt. This personal story serves as a powerful reminder. Adversity teaches lessons that comfort never can. James' struggles inside Angola, Lancaster, or Clinton are extreme, but the principles apply to everyone. Life will throw challenges, setbacks, and fears your way. How you respond, whether with courage, strategy, or despair, will define the outcome. In the next section, we'll take the first actionable lesson from these stories, how to cultivate mental toughness and resilience. You'll learn how to apply the strategies of survival from the harshest prisons to your everyday life, turning fear into a tool for growth rather than a barrier to success. If there's one lesson James Carter's story teaches us, it's that mental toughness is the ultimate survival tool. In brutal prisons like Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton, physical strength matters, but it's the mind that determines who survives, who thrives, and who succumbs. And the good news? Mental toughness is a skill you can develop, even outside the prison walls. Lesson 1. Embrace your fear. Don't run from it. Fear is natural. Inside these prisons, it's unavoidable. But fear doesn't have to be paralyzing. It can become a guide. James learned to observe fear, analyze it, and use it to anticipate threats. This mindset shift is powerful. In life, fear is often a signal that something important is at stake. Instead of avoiding fear, lean into it. Ask yourself, what is this fear teaching me? How can it help me prepare? Step 1. Recognize fear. Start by acknowledging what scares you. Whether it's a difficult conversation, a career risk, or a personal challenge, naming it reduces its power. Just as James identified potential dangers in Angola, recognizing fear is the first step to controlling it rather than being controlled by it. Step 2. Analyze and strategize. Next, break down the fear logically. Ask yourself, what are the real consequences? What are my options? In prison, a split-second decision could save your life. In everyday life, thoughtful preparation can prevent failure, reduce stress, and give you confidence. Mental toughness grows when you respond strategically instead of reacting impulsively. Step 3. Take incremental action. Fear often paralyzes because we see the big picture as overwhelming. The solution? Take small, deliberate steps. Inside brutal prisons, James didn't confront every challenge head-on. He prioritized, focused on survival one step at a time, and gradually built confidence. Apply this principle. Break large challenges into manageable actions. Every small victory strengthens resilience. Lesson 2. Build emotional endurance. Mental toughness isn't just about fear. It's about emotion. Inmates face isolation, despair, and daily pressure that can crush the spirit. James survived because he trained his mind to endure these emotional extremes. Emotional endurance means remaining calm under pressure, managing frustration, and staying focused on long-term goals despite short-term discomfort. Practical ways to strengthen emotional endurance include daily reflection. Spend 5 to 10 minutes each day reflecting on challenges and successes. Journaling helps process emotions. Mindfulness practices, breathing exercises, meditation, or focused attention can keep your mind steady under stress. Reframing adversity. See obstacles as lessons rather than punishments. Just as James saw every dangerous encounter as an opportunity to learn, reframe challenges as growth opportunities. Lesson 3. Observe and adapt. In brutal prisons, survival depends on observation. James learned to read situations, interpret signals, and adjust his behavior. He didn't rely on brute force. He relied on awareness. Mental toughness grows when you sharpen observation skills and respond intelligently. Actionable tips for adaptation. Watch patterns. Identify recurring challenges or triggers in your environment. Listen carefully. People communicate more through actions than words. Adjust behavior. Adapt to circumstances without compromising your core values. The power of resilience. Resilience is more than bouncing back. It's bouncing forward stronger than before. James didn't just survive Angola. He developed a mindset that allowed him to navigate adversity with confidence. This is the essence of Lesson 1. Resilience and mental toughness. Apply it today. Face a fear, endure discomfort, and observe the world around you strategically. Each step reinforces the habit of mental toughness. Like muscles, the more you train your mind under pressure, the stronger it becomes. Finally, remember this. Prisons test humans to their limits, but life does too. Fear, uncertainty, and pressure are inevitable. By cultivating mental toughness and resilience, you transform challenges from threats into opportunities for growth. The question is, will you let fear control you, or will you use it as a tool to rise above? James Carter survived Angola not only because he was mentally tough, but because he developed discipline and strategic thinking. In the chaos of brutal prisons, every decision carries weight. One wrong move can have irreversible consequences. What most people don't realize is that the same principles can apply to everyday life, whether it's achieving personal goals, advancing a career, or navigating challenging relationships. Lesson 1. Discipline is your unseen weapon. Inside prisons like Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton, discipline isn't about following arbitrary rules. It's about survival. James learned to manage his time, control his emotions, and maintain focus amidst chaos. He understood that self-control can protect you when the environment is unpredictable. Discipline in life works the same way. It's the foundation of success. Without it, talent, motivation, and ambition often crumble under pressure. Practical ways to build discipline include daily routines. Establish habits that reinforce focus and productivity. Simple routines, repeated consistently, create resilience. Accountability. Track progress and hold yourself responsible. Just as James observed the rules and avoided unnecessary conflicts, staying accountable keeps you aligned with your goals. Delayed gratification. Resist the urge for immediate pleasure. In prison, impulsive choices often led to danger. In life, long-term discipline leads to lasting rewards. Lesson 2. Strategy is more powerful than strength. Physical strength is overrated. In brutal prisons, the smartest inmates often outlast the strongest. James learned to observe, plan, and act strategically. He didn't fight every battle. He picked the ones he could win. Applying this principle, assess the situation, analyze challenges before reacting. What are the risks and benefits? Who are the key players? Choose battles wisely. Not every conflict is worth engaging. Focus energy on areas where you can create impact. Plan ahead. Anticipate potential obstacles. Just as James predicted threats in the prison yard, foresight helps you navigate life efficiently. Lesson 3. Leverage psychological insights. Understanding human behavior is critical in harsh environments. James learned to read others, guards, inmates, allies, interpreting their intentions, weaknesses, and emotions. This awareness allowed him to act decisively and avoid danger. In life, this is equally powerful. Empathy and observation. Notice patterns of behavior to communicate effectively and influence outcomes. Negotiation skills. Knowing what motivates people allows you to negotiate for better results, whether in business or personal life. Conflict resolution. Understanding psychology helps prevent unnecessary confrontations and foster stronger relationships. Real-life application. Imagine facing a high-pressure situation at work or in personal life. Discipline ensures you remain consistent. Strategy allows you to plan and respond effectively, and psychological insight enables you to navigate human dynamics. Combined, these tools create a survival kit for life's most difficult challenges. James' experience in Angola illustrates this vividly. By observing guards' routines, understanding inmates' tendencies, and remaining disciplined under pressure, he not only survived, but gained influence and respect. He became someone who could endure chaos and maintain control over what mattered most: his life, his choices, and his mental clarity. Numbers and facts for motivation. Studies show that disciplined individuals are more likely to achieve long-term goals than those relying solely on talent. Psychological awareness improves decision-making by up to 40% in high-stress environments. Strategy-focused actions often produce results 3 times faster than brute force efforts. These aren't abstract lessons. They are tangible tools. And the prisons of Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton provide an extreme, unforgettable example of how discipline, strategy, and psychological insight determine survival. The takeaway. Discipline keeps you consistent. Strategy keeps you smart, and psychological insight keeps you safe and influential. James' journey shows that mastering these principles isn't optional. It's essential when navigating life's toughest battles. You don't have to face prison walls to benefit from these lessons. Every challenge in life, fear, uncertainty, pressure, can be tackled using the same tools. If there's one thing that separates those who survive the harshest prisons from those who fall victim, it's adaptability. James Carter's story in Angola shows us that rigidity is deadly. Flexibility is life-saving. Inside brutal prisons like Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton, the environment is unpredictable. Rules change without warning. Alliances shift, and danger can strike at any moment. Survival isn't about brute force. It's about thinking, adjusting, and innovating. Lesson 1. Embrace change as a tool, not a threat. Many people fear change because it's uncomfortable. In prison, change isn't optional, it's constant. James learned to anticipate shifts in power, routine, and risk. Instead of resisting change, he adapted to it, using it to his advantage. Life works the same way. Unexpected situations will arise. Embracing change allows you to respond strategically rather than react emotionally. Practical steps. Stay alert. Always be aware of your surroundings and circumstances. Anticipate possible changes. Plan for multiple outcomes. For every challenge, have a plan A, B, and C. Flexibility is key. Shift perspective. When circumstances are beyond your control, focus on what you can influence. Lesson 2. Innovate to survive. Inside Angola, James often faced problems that had no obvious solution, whether it was avoiding conflict, securing safety, or navigating prison politics. His survival depended on innovation, creating strategies that were unconventional yet effective. You can apply the same principle in life. Think outside the box. Don't rely on conventional methods when faced with obstacles. Creativity is your competitive edge. Use limited resources wisely. Just as James had to make decisions with minimal tools and allies, learn to maximize the resources available to you. Learn from mistakes quickly. Every failed attempt is data. Analyze it, adapt, and implement smarter strategies. Lesson 3. Flexibility builds resilience. Resilience isn't just about enduring hardship. It's about bending without breaking. James endured physical threats, psychological pressure, and emotional despair, yet he never lost sight of his goal: survival and eventual freedom. He remained flexible in thought, body, and emotion. In daily life, resilience works the same way. When plans fail or circumstances shift, the ability to adapt ensures you continue moving forward rather than collapsing under pressure. Small changes in approach often yield massive results. Real-life example. Imagine facing a sudden career setback. Instead of panic or despair, you assess the situation, adjust your strategy, and innovate solutions. This mindset mirrors James' approach inside Angola, where rigid thinking could lead to failure. But adaptability led to safety, influence, and eventual success. The psychological edge. Adaptability and innovation provide a psychological edge that brute strength or talent cannot. In prisons, fear is omnipresent. Those who can adjust their mindset and approach are able to reduce fear, maintain control, and influence outcomes. The same applies to life. Being flexible under pressure gives you an advantage others lack. Key techniques to build adaptability. Scenario training. Mentally simulate challenges and think through multiple solutions. Continuous learning. Gain new skills and knowledge to stay versatile. Mindset shifts. Reframe obstacles as opportunities to practice resilience and creativity. Numbers for motivation. Studies show adaptable individuals are 50% more likely to succeed in high-pressure environments. Creative problem-solving boosts long-term outcomes by 30 to 40%, according to psychological research. Mental flexibility reduces stress responses by up to 35%, allowing better decision-making under pressure. James' experience proves that resilience is not passive. It is active, creative, and strategic. The harshest prisons teach lessons that apply to life's toughest challenges. By embracing adaptability and innovation, you gain the power to face uncertainty, solve problems, and transform adversity into opportunity. By now, you've seen the harsh realities of Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton. You followed James Carter's journey through fear, isolation, and danger. You've learned how mental toughness, discipline, strategy, and adaptability allowed him not just to survive, but to thrive. Now, it's time to shift perspective. Because here's the truth. The same principles that save lives in brutal prisons can transform your life outside of prison walls. First, understand this. Adversity is not your enemy. It's your teacher. Fear, pressure, and setbacks are inevitable. But instead of allowing them to paralyze you, let them strengthen you. Every challenge is a test, an opportunity to practice courage, resilience, and mental clarity. Just as James used fear to guide his actions, you can use life's obstacles to sharpen your mind and fortify your spirit. Empowerment starts with mindset. Repetition is your tool. Short, punchy mantras can reinforce mental strength. I control my response, not the situation. Every obstacle is a step toward growth. Fear is information, not a prison. Say these lines to yourself daily. Let them sink in. Let them reshape how you see challenges. Your mind is a battlefield, and your thoughts are weapons. Master them, and you can navigate any situation. Courage is learned, not innate. James didn't start his prison journey fearless. He became courageous because he acted despite fear. Courage is doing what needs to be done, even when your heart is racing and your mind screams to retreat. In life, courage looks like making hard decisions, speaking your truth, or taking risks others avoid. Faith and perseverance are your anchors. In brutal prisons, giving up is easy, but survival depends on holding on. The same applies to life. Faith in your abilities, perseverance through challenges, and trust in the process create an unshakable foundation. Remember, slow progress is still progress. A single courageous step can change the course of your journey. Visualize your success. James imagined a life beyond prison walls. That vision kept him focused, motivated, and resilient. You must do the same. Picture your goals. Feel the emotions of achievement, and let that vision drive every decision. Visualization strengthens resolve, reduces fear, and primes your mind for success. Daily habits reinforce this mindset. Simple actions, repeated consistently, transform ordinary people into resilient warriors of life. Morning reflection. Set intentions and reinforce mental strength. Small wins. Achieve tiny, deliberate victories to build confidence. Journaling. Track progress, fears, and breakthroughs. Physical activity. Strengthen body and mind. Resilience is holistic. Here's the core truth. You are stronger than your circumstances. The prisons of Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton are extreme examples, but they mirror life's pressures in microcosm. You may not face steel bars, but fear, uncertainty, and hardship are your personal walls. And just as James learned to navigate the most dangerous environments, you can navigate life's toughest challenges with courage, clarity, and strategy. Repetition is the key to internalizing this mindset. Speak your affirmations, practice resilience daily, and actively seek growth opportunities in discomfort. Life is a test of endurance, intelligence, and creativity. Those who embrace these challenges are the ones who succeed. Not because life is fair, but because they refuse to let fear, doubt, or chaos control them. Emotional triggers can fuel transformation. Harness courage, faith, and perseverance as driving forces. Let every setback ignite determination. Let every challenge reveal opportunity. Let your mind become unbreakable, your focus unshakable, and your heart relentless. Finally, remember this mantra: the walls around me cannot define me. The fire within me will. Repeat it, believe it, and act on it. Every decision, every small action, every courageous step compounds into the life you desire. We've journeyed to the dark corridors of Lancaster, Angola, and Clinton. We've walked alongside James Carter, felt his fear, witnessed his struggle, and learned how mental toughness, discipline, strategy, and adaptability became his keys to survival. Now, it's time to take these lessons and apply them to your life. Key takeaways: mental toughness. Fear is inevitable, but how you respond to it determines your outcome. Face fear, analyze it, and use it to your advantage. Discipline and strategy, consistency, planning, and awareness are tools that transform chaos into opportunity. Success comes from preparation and intelligent action, not brute force. Adaptability and innovation. Life is unpredictable. Flexibility and creative problem-solving turn challenges into stepping stones. Mindset and courage. Resilience, faith, and perseverance are your internal arsenal. Your mind shapes your reality. Cultivate it daily. These lessons from some of the world's most brutal prisons aren't just for shock value. They're a blueprint for personal transformation. Every struggle you face, whether small or massive, can be approached with the same principles that helped James survive. Now it's time for action. Knowledge without action is wasted potential. Ask yourself, what is one fear I can face today? What small step can I take to build discipline? How can I adapt to a challenge in my life with creativity and courage? Immediate actions to apply these lessons. Write down one fear or challenge you're avoiding, and take a first step toward confronting it today. Identify one area in your life where discipline is lacking, and implement a simple, consistent habit. Look at a problem you're facing and brainstorm 3 innovative ways to solve it. Repeat affirmations of courage and resilience daily to strengthen your mindset. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens one step at a time, one choice at a time, one brave action at a time. Just as James didn't survive Angola in a single day, you won't conquer life's challenges instantly, but each deliberate action compounds. Each moment of courage builds momentum. Each lesson applied creates a stronger, more resilient version of yourself. Empowering words to carry forward. You are stronger than you think. Adversity is your teacher, not your jailer. Courage is forged in the fire challenge. Your mind is your greatest weapon. Sharpen it daily. Before we end, remember this. Life may present walls, obstacles, and trials, but the fire within you can break any barrier. You don't need to be in Lancaster, Angola, or Clinton to understand these truths. They are universal, and they are yours to harness. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. Survival, success, and personal growth are not determined by circumstances. They are determined by how you respond to them. Your mindset, your strategy, your courage, and your adaptability will shape your destiny far more than any external factor. Call to action. Comment below. Share one lesson from this video that you will apply today. Share this video with someone who needs inspiration and perspective on resilience. Subscribe to this channel to continue exploring the world's most intense stories and the life lessons they teach. Take a small, courageous action today that aligns with what you've learned. Don't wait. Start now. And finally, remember this line. Let it resonate with every fiber of your being. The walls around you do not define your limits. The fire within you defines your destiny. Carry this truth forward. Face fear, embrace discipline, adapt relentlessly, and cultivate resilience. Your journey is your own, but the lessons from the world's most brutal prisons show that anyone can rise, anyone can survive, anyone can thrive, if they choose courage over fear. This is more than a story. This is your blueprint. This is your call to action. Step forward. Take control. Transform your life. And never, ever underestimate the power of your mind and spirit.